Welcome to Business Coaching Secrets with Karl Bryan. If you want to attract new high-end coaching clients, fill live events, and build a wildly profitable coaching practice where business owners pay, stay, and refer, you've come to the right place. In this podcast, Karl provides his keys to the kingdom for finding and signing high-paying clients and building the coaching business of your dreams. Here we go.
There you go. Curtis just asked me how much the earth weighs. There you go, Curtis.
There we go. Starting strong.
I love it. Okay. But at the end of the day, guys, ask me anything. Again, what I'm going to do, because what we end up with here is some shy folks. So I might be calling on you personally. And if I do, you got to have a question ready. And as you're thinking about, you may or may not have a question on the top of your mind, and I hope you do. What I would be thinking about there, I always say, if you want to build a six-figure coaching business, a multiple six-figure coaching business, a seven-figure coaching business, become one of our unicorns, there's three baskets you got to fill. You've got lead generation. So again, you might want to think about some questions around lead generation. The second basket is conversion. Okay, thinking about a question in and around conversion. Remember, nobody ever says no, they just ghost you. Okay, in fact, if you saw my daily email today, my daily email was a response to what I would send to somebody about that is ghosting you. And by the way, a little hint, tomorrow is a second and slightly different approach to somebody who is ghosting you. Because again, you present your coaching offer, nobody ever says no, they just ghost you, right? And of course, some people say no, but generally speaking, I think that will be your reality. Okay, so basket number 2 is conversion, and possibly thinking of a question in and around that. And then the third one, and the most important one by 100 miles, if you're going to own a restaurant, you got to have great food. You want to build a seven-figure coaching business, you got to be kick-ass, you got to be unbelievable, you got to be moving yourself towards level 10 in fulfillment. But if you wanted to build a seven-figure coaching business, I got to tell you, everybody always asks me about which basket, and that's basket number 1, lead gen, lead gen, lead gen. The truth is, lead generation is the most scientific of all of them by 100 miles. Okay. Translation, you can turn it into a machine. The one that you can't turn into a machine is basket number 3, and that's the fulfillment. And that's the one that takes all the time, right? So lead gen is like science, conversion is talent, fulfillment is time. Okay. So if you build a multiple six-figure coaching business, I guarantee you your biggest problem becomes time, because now you don't have the time to generate the leads, to squash in the new clients, to pick up the phone, to do the follow-up, to fill your local live event, to tweak your lead generation machine so that it converts at a higher level, right? Okay, so translation, you want to build a thriving coaching business. There are 3 baskets and 3 baskets only: lead generation, conversion, fulfillment. So if I were you guys and thinking about a question you could hit me with, I would be thinking, ask me a question in and around those 3 baskets. And then I'll follow that up with, I said this on my podcast in the last short period of time. Well, I've said it in lots of places. But I just say this: if you want to build a thriving coaching business, there is one way and one way only to do it. And that is to guide small business owners predictably, sustainably, towards profitability. Okay, because again, I don't need to be with you on the call with the chiropractor to know that they generally want to drag you into the weeds. What do I mean by that? Staffing issues, marriage issues, personal issues, you know what I mean? Like just the weeds, no doubt you get that. What you want to do as a frame is pull them out of the weeds and bring them towards profitability. And no doubt, if you're here, you probably know that I built profit acceleration software. I didn't build revenue acceleration software. I built profit acceleration software for that exact reason. What we want to do, profits. In fact, I think I might have said this in the PS to the email today and ghosting them. But what is the domino? You guys get what I mean when I say domino that knocks over all the other dominoes? What is that domino? And again, it can, understanding there are nuances, etc. Um, but the domino that will knock over all the other dominoes. Somebody tell me, and we're gonna get a hell yeah out of you guys in a second. Somebody tell me why marriages break up. Go into the chat and tell me the reason why the ridiculous highest probability in a marriage ending is what? It's on, there we go. Marriages break up from a lack of money over a lack of love times 100. And where do I write that? On the bottom of every single daily email that I do, and I do it for a reason. And guess what? You're staring at the poster child for that reality. And I lived it as the youngest child in that family, right? Getting pulled to and fro, and then I got to meet stepmommy, and I got to meet kind of stepdaddy, to do, right? Getting pulled from one house to the other house, the arguments. Anyway, so marriages break up from lack of money over lack of love all day long, twice on Sunday. So, translation, the domino that knocks over all the other dominoes is profit. The end. And by the way, I also understand that there are some nuances, and that's not to say that we don't help them with their marriage challenges and their staffing challenges, etc. But if you want to knock over, you want to hit that domino that knocks over all the other dominoes, have what did I say? The way to build a thriving coaching business is to have a predictable, sustainable way to direct small business owners towards profit in a systematic way. And we built software around that. So if you're not using the software, you got to do it. Anyways, okay. If you're thinking about a question, ask me one about leads, ask me one about conversion, ask me one about fulfillment, and I'll hit you. Tom, so your question was about BNI. Ask the question, can you?
Yeah, I'm joining a BNI guy that just met somebody last week, and they were like, "Oh, you need to come to my BNI group. It's the most active one in Denver." And I think she said $6 million in leads passed last year. And so going in, told her a little bit about what I do and what we do in the software, and just want to lean into more of what you just said, which is, I'm not looking at helping businesses with top line revenue. I'm looking at helping business with more net profit.
Bottom line.
And so just some short-term, long-term strategies around how to approach a very successful BNI group like that.
What was the 6 million thing? What's that about?
They pass leads. You know how they keep track of how much money
I see.
is passed in leads, and they passed nearly $6 million in referrals last year.
Okay, that is the smartest thing I've ever heard of a BNI group ever, man. You know what that's the equivalent of? I've used this as a strategy that I always said is monumental. Remember back in the day, you would you drive by do you remember what did I want you to go back 10 years, possibly 20, age us here, Tom. What did the bottom of every McDonald's sign say right underneath the right underneath?
Billions served. Billions served. Billions.
A billion served. That's it. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the greatest marketing social proof on freaking steroids. She is basically, whether she did it accidentally or perfectly, she has just stolen that strategy. And the fact that you told me that says that it hit. And this is a group worth being a part of. So very smart. Okay. So going to BNI. Okay, what I would normally open with is just that understanding that BNI is small potatoes, right? You got the insurance guy, the real estate gal, the mortgage broker, etc. So which is okay, but you got to understand, little red arrow, you are here. Just knowing that you're playing with small potato clients and they might not be the best prospect. So what's the solution to that? I feel like going from BNI, and then I'd go to the yacht club, I would go to the golf course, I would go to the oil and gas club, etc. Like the higher level groups as a general rule. It sounds like this gal is doing good. How many people in the group? Do you know?
I want to say there's around 55.
Yeah. Okay. And which is and that, how many are showing up on a regular? Have you been there yet?
No, I'm going Thursday. Thursday's
Okay.
my first one.
Um, okay. Anyway, so there's a bunch of, like, at the end of the day, you're going to stand up, you got to do your elevator pitch, and you got to do a bang up job of that, right? Again,
Yeah.
something you feel comfortable with, something along the lines of, I can find any business owner 100 grand in 45 minutes without them spending an extra dollar on marketing or advertising, right? And you're able to do that, right? Because you're a client of ours,
Yep.
like you got the profit acceleration simulator, the software, you do that. You feel comfortable you could do that falling off a log, right?
Yep.
So that's an example. I would come up with a killer elevator pitch. I always like to go to a networking function. I want to come with gifts, right? So I want to be Santa Claus. And what you could do, like, you've got you've got a book, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
you show up with your book and give everybody a copy of the book as an example. A better gift is an invite to your local live event, that's going to be next Tuesday at the Chamber of Commerce, what have you. But at the end of the day, I would want to, giving away gifts. One day it could be the event, another time it could be the book. Next time it's going to be, a 30-minute consultation with you where you'll go over your profit acceleration simulator and by the end of that 30-minute call, you will have a roadmap on how you can achieve ridiculously higher levels of profitability, not revenue, but profitability. If you're going there every week, you're probably going to run out of gifts, by the way. So that again is, but I want to make a little bit of an impact, right? So the first 3 weeks, you could do that as an example. But what I would say about networking is, have you heard me talk about the groundedness of a grandfather?
Yes.
Right. And no doubt, I think everybody here, you guys will all get that. The groundedness of a grandfather, that is the exact opposite of neediness, right? So neediness equals creepiness. In fact, I think I literally wrote that in an email today, ironically enough. And Tom,
Yeah.
you would never, again, I know your personality, right? So you're just never going to be that guy. But no doubt you get you show up and you're not looking to get all these clients immediately because they
Sure.
see that from a mile away,
Right.
right?
Yep.
So again, I'm just going to make sure that I am uber cautious. I don't know, cautious. I'm just walking around with the groundedness of a grandfather. And that again, so I'm having a conversation. How does grandpa have a conversation with you? It's just a really calm, cool, collected. And what does grandpa do? He's always asking you questions, right? So if you want to be
Yep.
interesting, you got to be interested, right? So again,
Yep.
I'm asking them questions. How could I go about helping you as I'm building up these relationships, delayed gratification that ultimately would, kind of become something? Because this does sound like a group that is really going to be you know what I mean? That's the way that she's promoting it and whatnot with the $6 million. So I would definitely be playing the long game as opposed to the short game.
Yep.
So,
Cool.
and yeah, I don't know. How am I doing? Does that give you
Yeah.
what I just said? Anything strike a chord?
Yeah. And Curtis just put in the chat too, use the golden rule is bring them leads.
Yeah. Oh, look, you help them. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah. Yeah.
think in the long game is that okay, why does somebody join BNI? What are they trying to do?
Yeah. Trying to increase the size of their business.
Yep. And how do they do that? Leads, right?
Leads. Yep.
So they go to these events the same way that they buy advertising. They join the networking group. Why do they do that? They're trying to get leads so they can get prospects. This is every one of them. They're trying to get leads so they can get prospects, so they can get clients, so they can get revenue, so that they can get profit, so they can get cash, profits and cash, two different things, so that they can get wealth, so that they can experience freedom, right? It's like a flywheel all the way
Yep.
around. And again, let's assume that this group isn't as fantastic as what it appears to be. Does BNI generally get them closer to freedom, as in accomplish their goal? Do you agree the
I would
answer is
say
no?
that I don't know. That's why I'm going.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, so I'm going to tell you that again. Do they have? Look, I ask you different. They have but without meeting the chiropractor, okay, downsell, a cross sell, a market dominating position, are they raising their prices every 12 months like McDonald's, and are they controlling their costs? Would you agree the answer is no?
Yeah, no, nope.
Yep. Okay, so you are a solution to her. That's how I think you can become a solution to all of her clients. Follow me?
Yep. Yeah. And the funny thing is you talk about this the other day, is she does the shirts. She's the logo girl.
She does what?
She does shirts. So she's the logo girl.
Okay. Why does somebody buy? So shirts as in branding, as in like promotional stuff?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Why does somebody buy t-shirts for their company? Because they're trying to market at a higher level and trying to brand themselves. Do the t-shirts solve the real problem? And I would dare say no. So this is where I think what she really needs is Profit Excel, the simulator. And
Yep.
these people are showing up to get leads so they can experience freedom. I don't think that's happening with consistency, no matter how good she's operating. So this is where you can solve the real problem of the people that are coming to the group. But again, I wouldn't hammer her with that early, but this is where I would ultimately be going. Like the ultimate goal here is to form a relationship with her as a joint venture partner.
Right.
Right. Would you agree with that?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. So play the long game, help some people out, build a little bit of a profile in the group, show your worth, coach, like potentially I would look to coach her for free, and she could pay or she could not pay. But remember, I don't want to sell to, I want to sell through. So I don't want to get her as a client. I want to get her 60 members as clients and her recommend. Right. So I'm just playing the long game. So I think that's what I'm doing. I'm showing up, strong elevator pitch, groundedness of a grandfather. When I'm speaking to people, I'm not like, oh, here's how amazing I am. You would never do that. But you know what I mean? I think a lot of people do. And it's like, I ask questions because if I want to be interesting, I got to be interested. The way I do that, if I'm speaking to the chiropractor, they're doing 80% of the talking. I'm doing 20% of the talking. The way that I direct the conversation is by asking, right? When did you start your business? Oh, why did you become a chiropractor? What are the 3 biggest challenges and obstacles? I'm curious. I know a few chiropractors. What would be like the biggest challenge that you'd face as a chiropractor? Getting unbelievable information out of that individual.
Sure.
Anyways,
Cool.
how am I doing? Help?
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate you, man. As always.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks. Good having you here, man. Let's open up. Luciano, talk to me, bud. I want to hear what you got to say. Luciano, how are you, bud?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
Doing awesome. Doing awesome. So any advice for Tom and BNI?
Yeah. In fact, my business partner, she built a 7-figure business through BNI. I mean, she was really great, and we are really great at the fulfillment. So, Carl, I like your 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
From this. If you have, Tom, if you're going into a BNI group with 55 people, that's quite the group, right? Normally they're 15, 20, but when they get that big, it means that there's a lot of really high profile people in there. In my experience, I'm not saying it's for sure because I can't put my life on it, but it looks that way by the way it looks. So I think now one of our issues, I'll tie this together, is in conversion, right? So one of the why we've joined here is we get the lead generation. However, the conversion is not exactly where we want it to be. So I'm going to throw that at you, Carl, in terms of what that looks like. However, our coaching is higher priced. And that being said, when you go into an environment like BNI and you show up as helpful every single time, we have a webinar called "Helpfulness is the New Hustle," right? And when you're helpful and helping people, and Carl nailed it, man, people continue to gravitate towards you. So whenever I go to a networking event, I just say, hey, listen, I'm here to help people. got lots of experience with businesses. And if I can help you, and we get clients like that in networking businesses all the time. And I think the other thing too, in your 30 seconds, when people get to know you, forget about the sales pitch. I think you get into, hey, this is what I did for a client this week, and just show them the numbers or talk about the numbers. I think you'll nail it inside of there. It's a shoe in for something like this.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, Tom, by the way, your simulator, the profit acceleration simulator just sounds so sexy. Again, I'd be using that as a little bit of a lead in, as a, a gift and a freebie. And of course you can just literally send them a link to it. So I'd be using that as a,
Yep. Cool.
okay, cool. There we go. And then Gary just said, yeah, personally, I think BNI is great for transactional businesses. Most members are salespeople, not business owners. But I will tell you, correct, but they are salespeople who want to become business owners, and they don't actually know that they're more salespeople than they are business owners, and helping them solve that problem go a long way.
One of my takeaways from BNI is they're always connected to bigger business people. If you've got a group of 55, they know the businesses in town. I think this is great, Tom. I'm not a big BNI guy, but I think if you got a group like that,
Yeah. Agreed. Something else, and just on a bit of a side, like one of the things that I'd be thinking about if I was a business coach and I was interested in hitting 7 figures and doing something, you know what I mean? Like really nailing it. Loneliness is an epidemic. And right now, the happiest people in the world, they are not staring at their phone and playing on Facebook, right? Like that comparison is the thief of your joy. And it's impossible to go to Facebook and flip through and not fall into the comparison dealio. So loneliness is an epidemic. If you agree with that, and there's a lot of science behind it, it's never been worse because of social media. Putting people in rooms and doing what that gal's doing with BNI, I really think is not only a great way to drum up some business, but I think it's a great thing for humanity, right? So building your own networking group, and if you've got that person, some people don't, you know what I mean? That's just not something that they're interested in doing, and they don't feel comfortable in that dynamic. Those that do, though, I would be thinking about starting your own networking group and just putting a little bit of a spin. So if you ask me, in fact, I've thought long and hard. I've already got it named. I've already owned about 50 domain names around the concept. The gap that I believe BNI is missing is education. Because what I just described, they're trying to get leads, they can get prospects, so they can get clients, they can get revenue around. Ultimately, they're trying to achieve freedom. And BNI, I don't believe, have the educational piece nailed. So if you did a networking group where you brought people together, introduced them, et cetera, got them together on a, once a week, twice a month, once a month, put them in a room, toes to toes, belly to belly, eyeball to eyeball. I think you'd be doing something really great for your local community. I think you'd be doing something great for yourself. And I think what you would have is a predictable flow of prospective coaching clients. So something to think about, a little bit higher level, but something to think about.
In terms of conversions, one of our issues has been, yes, we get in front of people. However, ghosting is often what we get. Now, we do have higher price points. However, if we could talk a little bit about ghosting, and you can lead the way on that, that would be great.
Yep. Okay. Well, to stop the ghosting, you want to close with when you go through your consultation and you ask all the questions, right? You'll never be able to recreate that intensity. And that intensity brings, credit card numbers and sales and conversions, right? So what I would encourage you to do is don't let it get to a dynamic where they say maybe close that deal. All right. So let me give you you and I talked about this, Luciano, but here's an example of how I would do it with the average coach here. Let's say you want to charge $2,000 a month, 24 grand a year. You got 20 clients at $2,000 a month. That's 480 grand a year, 80% margins. By any measure, that's a fantastic life, right? Okay. So what most coaches do, remember, you can coach, you can't sell, and if you can sell, you can't coach, right? Little bit of an exaggeration, but I'm pretty close. So the coach that sucks at selling What they do is they lower their fee to $1,000 a month to solve their conversion problem. Okay, I wouldn't do that. And then they keep the client for 6 years. Here's a way better idea so that you don't lose your lifetime value is that you make month one 500, month two 1,000, month three 1,500, and then month four 1,997 ongoing. Well, I just closed a $24,000 coaching client for a $500 commitment. And that is a hack. And then some people will tell you the more people pay, the more they pay attention. I get all of that. And of course, you should have higher level, you know what I mean? There's higher level programs. That's going to be a conversation for a different day. But the 3 months is going to go by anyways, right? What you want to do is you want to close that deal in the intensity of the moment. So the scaled pricing model has, a lot of our coaches will tell you that that is their best friend. But again, but understand the solution I just provided. The average coach that's not good at closing, which is a lot of them, they lower their fees to 12 grand a year and then keep their client for 3 or 4 years. And they end up on my phone moaning like, gosh, I'm doing all this work and this guy's taking his business from 600 grand to 3 million. And I'm still charging my poultry $1,000 a month. And frankly, it's frustrating. And then they meet the new coach in our environment who's good at sales, but not so good at the coaching. And they're closing $5,000 a month, 60 grand a year. Imagine, that's frustrating for the experienced coach without the sales skills. So that's a way to do it. So I believe that you present 2 grand a month, 24 grand a year, they hum and haw and tell you, well, look, let me think about it. Let me digest this. And you say, look, so here's the way I would close that. I go, Dave, look, you could go away and you could think about this, right? And you're going to put all kinds of dynamics in front of yourself, whether it's going to work and whether it's not going to work. Here's a better idea. Let's take it for a test drive and let me prove my worth. So what I will do is this, Dave, on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you at as far as moving forward? I always ask that question. Okay. And he's going to say 7.5. I would follow that with, Dave, do you want me to take you to a 10? Always laughs, right? Every time. Not Luciano though. Okay. So I say, do you want me to take you a 10? And then he laughs. And I say, here's what I'm willing to do. Okay. Again, it's 2 grand a month, 24 grand a year. I want to start you off this way just so that I can get you started today. I'm going to make month one, 497, month two, 997, month three, 1497, and then month four onwards, it's going to be 1997. And by the way, at any stage you want to cancel, feel free to. If I'm not pulling my weight, this isn't working, we're not taking this thing to the moon, the profitability that I talked about in my simulator showed you, and the software report that we printed out doesn't work. You cancel and it's all good. But what I'm going to do, because I believe in you, I believe in your business, and I get the fact you could go away and think about it. But what I think you should do, remember the last time you bought a car, you took it for a test drive, right? Yes. You know what? Let's look at this as a test drive for me and for you. What do you think? Let's get you going for 497. And by the way, before I said that, I would have preempted this, and I would have said the richest people in the world make hard decisions quickly. Okay, Warren Buffett makes 100%. This is true, by the way. Warren Buffett makes 100% of the decision with 60% of the information. And then if he's wrong, he just reverses course. So I said that earlier, setting this point up, right? So now I refer back to that. I said, look, remember, Dave, the most successful people in the world make hard decisions quickly. This is an example, I think, of you not making a hard decision quickly. So I'm going to, as your coach, the first thing I'm going to do is help you make a hard decision, and it's time to get started. You follow me there? And then it's 497. And I just closed a $24,000 client. And then, by the way, the staffing problems and the marriage problems and the weeds come. You could always stretch 500 for 2 months. You could stretch the 1,000 for 2 months. You could stretch you could do it 500, 500, 1,000, 1,000, 1,500, 1,500, and then 2 grand a month ongoing. Right. Anyway, so I believe, so the ghosting email and the ghosting approach, the real problem to solve is closing it with the intensity of that original consultation. And what I say is, I just, if I could, and what I do in that moment, I'll tell you, so real quick, back in the day when I used to close coaching face to face, belly to belly, and, boardrooms and kitchens and living rooms. And I sold a high-end coaching program in a bathroom one time, right? Because because I said, look, we need 4 walls, man. And he's like, well, this is the only spot I got. So we're standing up in a toilet. I got all my information on a bunch of Coke dealios. And I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be one. But in my head, you know what I said? This deal's getting done because this is a bloody good story. But what I want to say is the coaches that sat with me said, they used to always say this: Karl grows roots in the chair. And what I meant by that is I'm not leaving until I got the credit card number. It's not happening, right? It's only a matter of time before, like Michael Jordan said, he never lost a basketball game. He only ran out of time. And I believe that as well. It's just a matter of convincing them and overcoming the objection. So translation, I don't do my best. I do what it takes. And that, I think, is a great mental model.
Nice. That's great. All right. Another quick scenario then would be, now I won't hold you to this one because I know it's different than most what we do here, but I'll bring it up. We many times what we do is we have like a 2-day retreat, and then they get a whole branding model. It's coaching and combined in with a 2-day retreat that happens. And so it takes about 45 to 90 days to do the whole process. And it's roughly about 50 G's to do that. Sometimes 40, sometimes 50 grand to do this. Yep. And so, and these are bigger businesses, anywhere from 5 to 25 million. And so, it is a bit of a heavier price, but it's not that they can't afford it, but they do often, not often, they don't close as much as we want them to.
Understood. Right? So, but remember, that's 50 grand is $4 grand a month.
Well, yeah, it needs to be done in a shorter period because it's a 3-month process more than it is a.
Okay, but give them 12 months to pay.
Yeah.
Yeah, give them 12 months. You fulfill over 90 days. So if the conversion is the answer, you know what I mean? Like, maybe give them 12 months. Do you do third-party financing?
We have not done any of that. Nope. What suggestions do you have there?
No, you do third-party financing. So you get paid up front and they can pay it off over 2 years. And they just got to fill out the paperwork. They're going to have to pay some interest on it, depending upon their credit rating and a few other variables. But when I used to, again, I built a $5.5 million coaching company. We used to do 400 grand a month. The vast majority of our clients were on third party, like we got paid up front. So yeah, offer third party financing.
Okay, got it. That sounds good. Yeah, okay, I can. Sorry,
that help?
Yeah, that was really great. Yeah, it was awesome. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, Tony's got a question. Hang on a second. Am I going to go to Tony? What about Steve? I want to ask Steve. Steve looks new to our crew. Steve, you got a question for me?
Hey, how are you doing today?
Doing great, Steve. What's going on?
Hey, first time out here, just looking at the coaching program. Spent the last 8 years in a debt consulting business and looking to expand my offerings. So just out here seeing what's going on.
Okay, beautiful.
So if you were first starting, getting over the I guess the nervousness, the feeling that you don't know anything, right? So how would you overcome that?
I'd go throw up and keep going. No. Great question. Got it. So first of all, if you're not sold, you can't sell it. So, the solution to everything is just to educate yourself. So we obviously have, training program that I'm very confident would impress you. I would make sure that I've got tools behind me that, were proven, tested, et cetera, right? Like we've got a profit acceleration simulator, et cetera.
Yeah.
So I think that will jack up, because really it's confidence. If you're going to sell, you're obviously a good salesperson, it sounds like, right? Debt consolidation, not. You got to have conviction. So you're going to be new to this, so we can't solve that problem. But what we can solve is the conviction problem, where you feel comfortable if they say yes, you're going to be rocking. Have you seen my master class?
I have, and actually I've been dealing with Hugh Tapple. So I have another call with him today. So
Oh, who you get a call with?
Hugh Tapple.
Oh, cool. Oh, yeah. Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Say hi
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Hugh for me. Good Alberta boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where are you, by the way? I see.
I'm
I see
in
the flag.
yeah, I'm in London, London, Ontario.
There you go. London Knights, baby. Mitch Marner.
Yeah.
I'm a Leaf fan. There you go. Okay. And then what I would look, leads, conversion, fulfillment, right?
Yeah.
So leads, anybody advertising. Remember I said it earlier if you were here, they're really trying to solve the problem of getting closer to freedom. And they think that leads are going to get them there, but the truth is they don't have an upsell, a downsell, a cross-sell, a proper upfront offer. They don't have a market dominating position. Their math is probably pretty bad and they're playing with tight margins, right? And
Right.
I just described what's referred to as the Jumpstart 12 with
Okay.
the software. So I would go to people advertising and I would try solve their real problem, right? I would just reach out cold and just say, look, I saw your ad. Because would you agree that most ads have name at the top, service, quality, dependability in the middle, and then a phone number and a web address at the bottom? You agree
Yeah.
that's most ads?
It's pretty standard. Correct.
Yeah, it's a blown up business card. It ain't moving the needle. And how much are they paying for it? Right. In some cases,
Right.
500 a month, in other cases, 2 to 3 grand a month, depending upon where it is on a billboard on the side of the highway, etc.
Yep.
So I would be contacting them because they're not real problem that they have. I would be going to networking. Were you on when I was talking about going to the networking?
I was. Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
go to networking functions, understanding that sandbox in most cases, and that's okay. Tom Brady threw the football for free for a while until he got, paid a ridiculous amount. So, you're learning in the networking groups. When I say learning, you're going to sign up some clients, you will charge them, but understand there's a chance that they're only going to last 60 days, 90 days, right?
Okay.
And your job is to crush it with them, so they don't want to do that. But at the end of the day, I'd be going there. Businesses for sale, I'd be reaching out. I'd be, anybody trying to sell their company. Why are they trying to sell their company? They're sick and tired. It's probably not going to sell with about 80 to 90% predictability. Well, how do you sell a company? Look, let's have a look at their P&L. Let's have a look at their marketing materials. Let's have a look at their website and, jack all of that stuff up. So I'm trying to go to education for you, right? That all you got to do is just follow the system. And I think that you're solving the advertising medium, the radio station, the billboard company, the coupon book, the online directory is not solving the real problem that the business has.
Right.
They've got a business model problem with ridiculous predictability. And they're trying to solve it with lead gen. And I don't, as I look, 90% of businesses fail, right?
Yeah.
So apparently what they're doing is not working. You know what I mean? So we need to look at the, and then there's some mental gymnastics and some life coaching. We talked to Lynn earlier, some of that, some of that comes into it. So that's what I would say. How am I doing?
Okay. Great.
And debt consolidation, you'd know a thing or two about entrepreneurs looking for some money. They would never be looking for money if the business was crushing it, then they're not coming to you, right? Well, number of applications that you're getting. I know that space, right? It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And I'd be solving the real problem. The domino that knocks over the other dominoes, including in a marriage, is profit.
Yeah. Okay.
All of a sudden, other problems tend to go away.
Yeah.
So that's what I'd say. Throw yourself into the program, throw yourself into education, and I think you'll do well.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Does that help?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, Steve. Thanks, buddy. Tony, I think I just answered your question, buddy. That's what I would say. Tony's got to actually, let's make sure I did. Tony, are you here?
Yeah, Carl, I'm
Good,
here.
man. How are you, buddy? What's going on?
Good. Yeah. Hey, no, what got me is when you said, if I don't have a question, what would be my question if I did have one?
Nice.
And that was kind of like with some of my coaches, they just couldn't seem to get that first client. And the way that I do it, most people aren't comfortable with. So trying to teach somebody else how to do that just didn't work really well. So if you were in a situation where you have no name, you have no clients, but you've got expenses, how would you get a paying client tomorrow?
It's not that I have no name. I do have two first names. There you go. I get called
Okay.
I get called Brian every day. It's not every day, but I'll tell you, the number of people get me on the phone. Hey, Brian. I'm like, dude, you know me for 3 years, man. How the hell? Anyways, answer is, in fact, I did a video about this probably a decade old. It's on YouTube.
Well, I know you've answered it a million times.
No, that's and by the way, Tony, how long for all those here? How long you been a client of ours?
About 10 years.
Daniel, there we go. How are we doing, by the way? Have we advanced our program since you started?
Oh, big time. Yeah. Big
There you
time.
go. So for everybody listening, guys, we don't sit on our hands around here. We develop this software in a wild and crazy way, and we'll continue to. So answer is, I like literally did a video, and here's what I did on the video, save you from watching it. I had a newspaper in front of me, a local newspaper, and they absolutely still exist. And I just flipped through, and I had my iPhone, and I'm just pointing at ads, and it's name of the company across the top. I was just talking to Steve about this, right? You got name of the company, service, quality, dependability, and then their phone number and the web address at the bottom. And I'm like, I would call this guy and say there's a mistake. In fact, you did this, Tony, years ago, right? I would,
Yeah.
Tony did what I'm describing. Tony knows very well because he crushed it. And he called me. He goes, I just closed a $24,000 client using your strategy.
An
So I
attorney.
would call and say there's a mistake on your ad and leave my phone number. Okay. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to think it's a phone number mistake or something else. They call and you say, no, the mistake is that you have a blown up business card, and that's not an advertisement that is going to move the needle for your business in any way. And I would imagine you bought the ad to bring in leads, and I just don't think it's going to solve the problem. So I have a 4-step methodology that I can teach you. It's interrupt, engage, educate, and then offer, as you guys know, with our marketing turnkeys. And if you want, and I don't need you to pay me anything. Like I will just happily walk you through that. And potentially you might want a little bit of more help from me, but I'll leave that one with you. But if you want to have another call, I'll walk you through that, but I don't have time right now. And that's how I would do it. And then I would
Okay.
call people who won awards and people that were nominated for awards. And then I would call people advertising and sponsoring at the golf course and the yacht club and the baseball diamond with the exact same approach. Because when they buy an ad, they use their credit card to try grow their business. But we have all agreed that it's not really solving the problem that they have. So
Yeah.
it's a bad idea.
You know, Carl, that billboard bit got me my first 3 clients, each paying $2,500 a month.
Nice, nice. Then you did exactly what I just said, right? There was a billboard, you called, said there's a
Yeah.
mistake on your ad. They called you back and you turned them into
In fact, I was driving by when I saw it, and I just took a picture of it with my phone, and I made a phone call while I'm still driving. And the attorney called me back in 7 minutes,
nice.
and I wasn't prepared to take that phone call, but
There you go. Yeah. Watch those traffic lights. Anyway, so folks, if you want to know if it works, Tony's here telling you it works. Wanda Allen. We haven't said hello to Wanda Allen, so let's go to Wanda Allen.
I knew you were going to call me.
How's it going?
Good, very good. Okay, so you have the bucket, the high paying client and lead gen. How do you find the high paying client through your lead generation?
Okay. Great question. There you go. Answer. So give me a niche. Have you niched? Is there a specific type of business owner that you like to go after that you feel more comfortable with?
Entrepreneur. I know that's very broad. I specialize in the area of follow-up. So I help my clients improve their follow-up skills.
Okay. So what niches do you feel like they lack in follow-up and you could really move the needle with them?
Oh, in general, people are terrible at it. They're
Yep.
terrible.
I would agree with that.
By their own admission, I mean, it's
Yep.
they struggle. So for a variety of reasons.
Yep. Okay. But let's go a little bit deeper. So, if I was coaching anybody, I'll just tell you real simple. I try to create 2 rules that comes from Warren Buffett. What are Warren Buffett's 2 rules of investing? Rule number 1, don't lose money. Rule number 2, see rule number 1. Okay. People hear that and they think it's a throwaway line. It's anything but a throwaway line. It created an individual worth something like $200 billion, right? Okay. So then, by the way, in business, guess what? We have created 2 rules internally for our clients. And the two rules of business of this, and that goes for Tesla, Coca-Cola, the local chiropractor, the landscaper, the florist. You got to get clients. You got to keep clients. That's it. It gets no more complicated than that. So that brings me to your question. So what I'm trying to establish here, so you can see what's going on, is if I was going to coach you, I would do two things. One, I would establish a starting line, and I refer to that as the little red arrow, you are here, right? So you get that, you're in a national park and you get lost and there's a map. Without the little red arrow, you are here, the map's going to give you no benefits whatsoever. It just gets you more lost in an east direction, right? So I got to establish the starting line and we got to establish the finishing line. And the coaching is just a line in between, helping you understand where you're at and using existing resources, and then establishing where you're trying to go and trying to expedite that process and pour gasoline, right? Okay, so tell me about your background. Follow-up is what you do. You're obviously good at that. So do you mean like drip campaigns and using Go High Level and Salesforce and that sort of thing?
Well, CRMs are crucial. It's like the foundation of it
Yep.
all. But yeah, it's about systems. I have a very systems brain. I had a 25-year corporate career that helped me develop that brain. And when I went into sales and realized how crucial follow-up is like, how do you do it? Stay on top of it. So how to follow up when you're being ignored, scripting. People don't know what to say. They get so nervous, overcoming fears, fear of being pushy, fear of rejection, fear of not knowing what to say. So it's just like a whole kind of foundational system and processes that I teach to get them to form the habit. That's all it is. It's a habit.
Okay, so what clients have you seen it work better for than others? Give me a couple of your home run.
Okay, so one gentleman, one of my clients sells solar roofs. He tripled his sales. Within 6 months, I have another client that tripled her sales. She works it's like an interior designer, but for commercial buildings.
Yep.
So those two. And then I have another one that and I have his permission to say this, he was a mess all over the place. And he's got systems in place and he's just killing it. His business has grown so much. So, and he's in the commercial leasing business.
Yeah. Okay. So you just named 3 categories of business that I feel like I'd be reaching out to. Because not only are you going to be able to, because then you find the ones doing multiple 6 figures, 7 figures, and multiple 7 figures, obviously. But the fact that you've already got a process and already have, you know what I mean? Like success in that, it's going to be way easier. You're going to have a higher level of conviction because you want to sell anything. You need, if you're not sold, you can't sell it. You're going to have a higher level of conviction. That means your conversions are going to be higher. And you've already done it for those niches. So I think it's going to be significantly easier to do for the others. Right. So we just created a little bit of an avatar. We haven't gone deep enough, but no doubt you could see how you could do that. And then what I'm doing is I'm going to local networking groups and I'm standing up and I say, look, I'm an expert in follow-up, and an example of 3 industries that I'm really good at helping are boom, boom, boom. You just name the ones that you just named. Right. Then I would go to an accountant. And I would say, look, I'm a follow-up expert. I'm really good, talented at helping these 3 niches. I don't want to work with the small potatoes, folks. Do you have anybody that's approaching 7 figures in these 3 niches? And I will work with them and I will move the needle with them big time. I could get into that one because what I do, if I'm going to an accountant and trying to form a joint venture, I tell the accountant that when they introduce me to a client, I will make sure that they come in to see the accountant at least 4 times a year to get proper financial statements. So the accountant's going to love that because there's a little thing called tax season, which is the bane of their existence, right? So the 3 clients that he introduces you to, they will not participate in tax season because the numbers are already going to be in, right? You follow me? And then the accountant can charge significant twice as much for that client. The accountant's going to love that. You're going to get paid from the client that he introduces you to. You keep your money, the accountant keep his money, and you're all good. So I would go to an accountant and give him that pitch. And then I would go to a banker and give him that pitch. And then I would go to a lawyer and give him that pitch. And I think you'd find that you'd get introduced to those types of clients that you're trying to find.
Oh, that's great. I'm so sorry. My husband walked in, the dog started barking.
Oh.
So when you said, pay like a referral fee, I think I missed that part.
No, the accountant won't, that won't work with the accountant, right?
But I thought you said pay the accountant. You
No.
get your money. Oh, okay. I missed that.
You're going to take on a client that the accountant is going to introduce you to.
Yeah.
But what you're going to do is I always want to solve the problem of the person that I'm speaking to, right? Same way we're doing here today. The problem for the accountant is a little thing called tax season, because everybody comes to see them at the end of the year with their, their shoebox full of receipts, and then needs everything rush. And it literally ages accountants, right? Pete Lawson's here. He's the accountant for 30 plus years, right? He'll tell you. So you know what I mean? So he introduces you to those clients. Those clients won't participate in tax season.
Oh, got it.
Right?
Okay.
You see the way you just saw, and by the way, he's going to be doing proper financial statements for the client.
Yeah.
And those clients will be paying him significantly more because he's now providing the service that she wants to properly be providing, which is financial statements versus tax returns.
Got it.
Right? And by the way, if I go to an advertising medium, which will be another joint venture partner, what's the problem of an advertising medium? People buy ads, run them for 90 days, and then cancel them. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
I solve that problem. I say, introduce me to one of these 3 clients. Tell me how much they're paying in advertising. While they're working with me, I can't guarantee anything, but I will guarantee that they will not stop the ad. And you tell me what their ad budget is approximately, and my undertaking will be to double what they're spending with you per year, because I believe that advertising to profit is a superpower. And I absolutely believe a lot of you guys got here through advertising, right? So advertising to profit is a superpower. So when you introduce me to your clients, I'm going to make sure that they don't cancel. And then I'm going to do my best to get them to literally spend twice as much with you over the next 12 months, because I think they need a bigger ad, not a smaller ad, because you'll never get a bigger fan of advertising than me. See the way you just solved the problem for the advertising medium? And then the way they get nervous, go, oh my God, so you just say, take me for a test drive. Okay. When you bought a car, you took it for a test drive. So you just say, don't introduce me to 30 people, 300 people, introduce me to 3. And then in 6 months, we're going to know how I did.
Love it.
Approach.
Yeah. I love it. Thank you.
That'll work.
Yeah.
Put that in the follow-up tick, and then do the follow-up, and you're going to be dangerous. Cool. Anything else I can help with? Does that help?
No, that was perfect. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, that was my big question.
Yeah.
So,
and of course, lead gen, just maybe for everybody, and I'm sure, but you go to BNI, but that's kind of small potatoes. You go to a higher level networking group, you do that. But by isolating the 3 industries that you work with, when you stand up and you introduce yourself, it's just so much easier for them to go, oh, wow, you know what? I do know a landscaper. I'll introduce you.
great. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, Bo's got a question. Bo,
if I'm finding clients, I'm not coaching. If I'm coaching, I'm not finding clients.
Yeah.
What does work-life balance look like?
Doesn't exist, Bo. Next question.
Okay, thanks for playing.
No, I'm just look, again, there's 3 baskets. There's lead, there's conversion, there's fulfillment. What you really got to do, and again, if we showed you the software, like we have built flash coaching software. So basically you meet somebody and then they can't afford, 24 grand a year. You put them in flash coaching, and then there's a series of 5-minute videos that go out, and then they have to jump through some hoops, and then they can jump on your calendar for 15 minutes, right? What's going to happen? Think flywheel. Okay. I talked about this Road Dog. I talked about, if you listen to my podcast, the one this week, Road Dog said at the end, he goes, that's the best podcast we've ever done. So I think it's pretty good. What did I talk about? I talked about flywheel. There we go. Boom. Okay. So did you listen to it already? Oh, Bo, you're muted.
Sorry about that. I haven't listened to the podcast, but I have listened to several of your presentations over the last 6 months. So,
oh, okay, there. So you got the flywheel. So there. Can you hold that up for everybody so they can see a picture? There we go. So there you go. Perfect. So Amazon, there's Amazon.com. Amazon.com have a 2.5 trillion, not billion, but $1 trillion market cap. You would never build $1 trillion company without a flywheel. And a flywheel, it spins around, it speeds up and it expands. It speeds up and it expands, right? So hang on, what was the question? Now I lost track, but what's the question I'm answering?
What's the
work-life balance?
Work-life balance between
So,
selling to new clients and coaching existing
Yeah.
clients.
okay, so you need to have tools. Remember, there's basket number 3. If you're going to build a 7-figure coaching company, there's leads, conversion, fulfillment. I answer the question about lead generation all the time, and understandably, but what stops you from getting to 7 figures is fulfillment times 1,000,000. It's not even close, right? Why? Because that one takes all the time. So now you don't have time to generate the leads and do the live event and go to the networking function. And when you do, you're late and you're tired and, do. So leverage. So we built flash coaching software, and bet you charge let's just say you charge $2,500 a year. And then folks can get onto your calendar to get 15 minutes. But then think flywheel, the way Bo just held up. And then guess what the solution to, you come armed with questions that I give answers to. Guess what the answer is going to be a ridiculously high percentage of the time? Is that you have big problems that are going to take time for me to help you solve. And then you go into group coaching, right? So you go from flash coaching at $2,500 a year to group coaching at $1,000 a month, because now you need more access to me and I need to be able to solve your problems. And we can't do that in 15 minutes, as I'll do my best. So it's a flywheel. And then guess what happens outside of group? They become one-to-one. If you ever wanted to get a $5,000 a month, $60,000 a year client off of a text message, they will come from group and say, I want more of your attention, and they'll go one-to-one. What most coaches do, and the mistake that they make, is they do one-to-one and then move to group and say, I'm no longer doing one-to-one. You just killed your flywheel, right? And by the way, Tony Robbins, who some people love him, some people hate him. I think he's great. He gets a bit of a hard time nowadays for, whatever reason, which is all good. But he does, you listen to him get interviewed. Does this sound familiar? I do one-to-one coaching. It's $1 million a year plus upside. And I have a waiting list, a 3-year waiting list or something to that effect. It's a reason why he says it, right? Tony Robbins, a genius of a man, but he does very little that is not strategic, right? So again, people want to get more access to him, right? So they go flash coaching, want more access. They go to group. They go from group, they go to one-to-one, and now you've got a flywheel, right? Anyway, so work-life balance. If you don't have tools to leverage, we've got a coaching portal for the one-to-one, we've got group coaching software for the group, and then we've got flash coaching software for the 15-minute. No doubt you could see how that takes a lot of pressure off. So let me tell you the mistake that I see coaches making with ridiculous predictability. We in fact just had a guy, we just did a live event challenge, just helping our clients do live events. We had a young guy, he's 32 years old, been a client for quite a while. He did live events. He got 25 clients in 9 months. Don't quote me to those exact numbers, but it's absolutely 25 clients exactly. And it might've been 10 months and it might've been 7, but 25 in 9 months. Let's just use that as a frame. His problem, and what I saw for him, is guess what he's doing? He's got Bo's problem. He's running out of time, right? And he wants to do the lead gen, but he's got 25 clients to service. He gets on the phone, and this is what coaches do, and they do a mini seminar every coaching call. Educate, educate, educate. And your coaching needs to be what? Implementation, move the needle, right? Well, how do you solve that problem? If you guys are talking about goal setting, time management, market dominating position, raising prices, controlling costs, upsell, downsell, cross-sell, bundling, joint ventures, you want to send them a video before the call. And then you want to get on the phone call, and let's say it's joint ventures, and say, okay, what are the 3 people that you're going to form a joint venture with? Right? So it's more, and then by the way, 30 minutes into the call, you got an hour booked. Guess what? Okay, perfect. You're ready to go. I'm hanging up the phone. You got 30 minutes to execute XYZ. I'm calling you 10 minutes to the hour, and I want you to let me know how 20 minutes went solving your problem, implementing the thing. Right. So a mini seminar is a terrible idea and ridiculously consistent in our industry. And by the way, the video, we have a business academy. We have like 200 hours of step-by-step instructional video that you could leverage. Hang on, what was I going to say? No, I lost my train of thought. Shoot. Work-life balance. When you get on the phone, like Tuesday at 2:00 may or may not, like, is your client in the right headspace to listen to your mini seminar at Tuesday at 2:00? And the answer is maybe, but there's a good chance the answer is no. So when you send them the video, guess what? They can watch it 1, 3, 5, 10 times. They can get their manager to watch it. They can get their wife to watch it. They can, press pause, go have lunch with the kids, and then come back to finish it. That is significantly more effective than actually jumping on the phone and doing a mini seminar with them when they may or may not be attentive. Anyway, so that will help you with the work-life balance in a meaningful way, because to be honest with you, in fact, want to hear a funny one, Bo, and everybody, like we do a lot of data, on the backside of focus.com. And we've actually found a correlation between too much time on the phone with our clients, which you could probably see that as a value add. We're spending more time, so they're getting more value. Well, we have actually found that to be the opposite of results for the coach. So the more time we're spending on the phone with them, the less, we're seeing the case study and the example, and then telling them, us telling them about the 3 new clients that they got. So, Bo, how am I doing? Work-life balance, again, like any entrepreneur, that's a battle. But I got to tell you, fulfillment is what stops you from having work-life balance. You got to make sure that you've got tools to leverage to get there. Does that help? Anything? I get in the clap. There we go, Bo. Anything else, Bo?
No, that's good. I appreciate it. I really like the putting one-on-one as the deepest part of the coaching conversation.
Say that again. What was the needle mover?
Where you said you go from flash coaching to group coaching, then to one-on-one coaching.
Everybody messed that up. They go from one-to-one to group, and I'm no longer doing one-to-one.
Yeah.
And then they miss out on the text message for the very, very high-end platinum level client.
And one-on-one is what we're best at. So we should be doing what we're best at.
Yep.
Thanks.
So there you go. Yeah. And again, it's a flywheel, right? So
absolutely. Yep. Thank you.
Guys, what I talked about on my podcast this week, like if you one of the things that, Road Dog, he literally phoned me after, he said at the end, it was the best. And he literally phoned me after. He's like, oh my gosh, this hit home. But what I gave an example of procrastination as a flywheel. So you've got procrastination, and then you've got panic and anxiety, and then you've got feel guilty at 6:00, and then you've got make excuses at 9:00. And what does that lead to? More procrastination, right? So again, it spins, and unfortunately in the wrong way, it expands and speeds up. So the person that procrastinates doesn't all of a sudden get to the wall where they go, I'm no longer procrastinating. It just gets worse, and the panic gets worse, and the guilty feelings get worse, and then the excuses get better, and the procrastination goes in the wrong direction. But anyway, so there we go. Bo, great question, man. Thank you.
Karl Bryan built Profit Acceleration Software 2.0. So as a business coach, you'll never again have to worry about working with business owners that can't afford your high-end coaching fees. Check us out at focused.com.